In Never Let Me Go, Kazuo Ishiguro paints a delicate, haunting portrait of a dystopian world that feels disturbingly close to our own. The novel, set in a seemingly idyllic England, follows the lives of three friends, Kathy, Tommy, and Ruth, who grow up in an institution called Hailsham. At first, the students of Hailsham seem to live a life much like ours, learning art, literature, and playing sports, but gradually we learn the unsettling truth: they are clones, created solely for the purpose of donating their organs until they die, or as the novel puts it, complete. What's remarkable about Never Let Me Go is that its dystopia isn't one of overt rebellion or violence. Instead, Ishiguro crafts a quiet, introspective narrative that forces readers to confront fundamental questions about humanity, mortality, and the ethics of scientific progress. To truly understand the novel, it's crucial to delve into several key themes that Ishiguro masterfully interweaves throughout the story. These themes, memory, loss, identity, art, and the inevitability of death, are not only relevant to the dystopian world Ishiguro constructs, but also reflect our own struggles in modern society. Memory, and more specifically the function of memory, lies at the heart of Never Let Me Go. The novel is narrated by Kathy, who reflects on her time at Hailsham with a deep sense of nostalgia. Her memories of her youth, her relationships with Ruth and Tommy, and the small moments that defined her life are imbued with a sense of longing and bittersweetness. But Kathy's memories are not just a passive recollection of the past, they are a means of survival. For Kathy, remembering the past is a way of maintaining her identity in a world that sees her as disposable. In a sense, her memories are what make her human. She holds onto them tightly, because, without them, she is little more than a body, an object created for a specific purpose. This raises a fundamental question: what is the value of memory in a world where the future is predetermined, and where one's life is essentially owned by others? The students of Hailsham are not given a choice about their fate, but they do have their memories. Kathy's reminiscences offer her a sense of self-worth and personhood in a world that denies her autonomy. Interestingly, Ishiguro uses Kathy's unreliability as a narrator to explore the fragility of memory. Her recollections are not always clear or objective, they are colored by her emotions and desires. This is most evident in her memories of Ruth, a character whose actions often seem self-serving or manipulative, yet are softened by Kathy's deep connection to her. This blurred line between memory and reality makes us question how much of Kathy's story is true, and how much is a construction of her longing for meaning in an otherwise meaningless existence. A key aspect of life at Hailsham is the emphasis on art and creativity. The students are encouraged to create paintings, sculptures, and poetry, and their best work is selected by Madame for display in the gallery, a mysterious exhibit that is supposed to represent the students' souls. For the longest time, Kathy and her friends believe that the purpose of the art is to determine their worth as individuals and, perhaps, to offer them a chance at a different future. Yet, as the novel progresses, the idea that art could save them becomes increasingly tragic. We learn that the art they created had no practical purpose for their fates. It was only meant to prove that they had souls. The art was a way for society to justify the existence of clones by attributing to them a semblance of humanity, while still dehumanizing them by denying them basic rights. Ishiguro uses art as a symbol of resistance, albeit a quiet and ultimately futile one. The students pour their emotions into their creations, hoping to be seen as more than just bodies destined for organ harvesting. Their art is an attempt to prove their humanity, yet in the end, it becomes clear that no amount of creative expression can save them from the grim fate. This use of art also speaks to broader themes about the role of creativity in human life. Ishiguro seems to ask, is art, in itself, enough to define our humanity? Or is it merely a tool used by society to comfort itself in the face of ethical transgressions? The question remains open, leaving readers to grapple with the unsettling notion that the things we create might not be enough to secure our humanity in the face of systematic dehumanization. At the core of Never Let Me Go is a chilling critique of scientific advancement without moral consideration. The world of the novel is one in which cloning and organ harvesting have become normalized, accepted by society as a necessary evil to prolong the lives of normal humans. The clones are seen as subhuman, their lives valued only for the organs they provide. What makes the novel so devastating is that this ethical quandary is never explicitly debated by the characters. There is no grand moment of rebellion or philosophical discourse about the morality of cloning. Instead, the characters accept their fate with a quiet resignation. Kathy, Tommy, and Ruth never question the system that created them. They simply try to make the best of the time they have before their inevitable completion. This passivity is both unsettling and thought-provoking. By avoiding the traditional dystopian trope of rebellion, Ishiguro forces readers to confront their own complicity in systems of exploitation. How often do we, like the characters in the novel, accept the injustices of the world simply because they are too large or too ingrained to fight against? In Never Let Me Go, the horror lies not in the dystopian society itself, but in the way that society has become so normalized that the characters, and by extension, the readers, no longer question it. At its core, Never Let Me Go is a story about friendship and the search for meaning in a life that seems devoid of purpose. Kathy, Tommy, and Ruth's relationships are complex, filled with jealousy, betrayal, love, and forgiveness. They cling to each other not just out of necessity, but because their friendships are the only real form of agency they have in a world that strips them of control over their own bodies. Ruth, in particular, is a fascinating character. Throughout much of the novel, she appears selfish and manipulative, often hurting those closest to her in order to assert her dominance. But as the novel progresses, we see glimpses of Ruth's vulnerability and her deep desire for connection. Her actions, while often hurtful, are driven by a need to matter, to be remembered, and to find meaning in a life that offers so little. Tommy, on the other hand, represents innocence and idealism. His frustration over not being artistically gifted is heartbreaking, as he believes that his lack of creative talent means he is somehow less worthy. In the end, Tommy's outbursts and his quest to understand the truth behind Hailsham reveal a deep desire to find a way out, even if that hope is ultimately illusory. Kathy, the narrator, is the glue that holds the trio together. Her calm demeanor and reflective nature offer a quiet strength in the face of overwhelming despair. Yet, even Kathy cannot escape the system that controls her life. By the novel's end, she is left alone, having lost both Tommy and Ruth to the organ donation process. Her reflections on their friendship, and on the fleeting nature of life, leave readers with a profound sense of loss and futility. Perhaps the most poignant theme of Never Let Me Go is its meditation on the inevitability of death. The clones in the novel live under the constant shadow of their own mortality, knowing that their lives will be cut short in service of others. Yet, despite this knowledge, they continue to live, to love, and to create. There is a quiet dignity in their acceptance of fate, even as that fate feels unjust and tragic. Ishiguro uses this acceptance to explore broader existential themes about the human condition. We, too, live with the knowledge of our own mortality, yet we often choose to focus on the present, to build relationships, and to find meaning in the time we have. In a way, the clones' lives mirror our own. They are defined not by their inevitable end, but by the small moments of joy, connection, and creativity that fill their days. Kathy's final reflection, standing in a field and imagining the people she has lost, captures the profound sadness and beauty of life's fleeting nature. She knows that her time, too, will soon come to an end, but she finds solace in her memories and in the love she shared with Tommy and Ruth. It's a moment of quiet acceptance, and in it, Ishiguro offers readers a powerful meditation on the nature of life, death, and what it means to be human. Never Let Me Go is a novel that lingers long after the final page has been turned. Through its exploration of memory, art, ethics, friendship, and mortality, Ishiguro challenges readers to confront uncomfortable truths about the world we live in. The novel's quiet, understated style belies the depth of its emotional impact, drawing readers into a world that feels both familiar and disturbingly alien. In the end, Never Let Me Go is not just a dystopian novel. It is a profound exploration of what it means to be human. It asks us to consider the value of our lives, the importance of our relationships, and the ethical implications of the choices we make in the name of progress. In its haunting, understated way, Never Let Me Go forces us to grapple with the boundaries of human life and what it truly means to live.